welcome to another Speakers on Edge. We're doing 15 minutes of fame where we have voices of vision sharing messages that matter. And today, my guest is Teresa. Teresa, who are you?
I am an award-winning author of Raising Kind Children. I'm a motivational speaker and a kindness guru.
What on earth is a kindness guru?
It's somebody that really has, through a school shooting, as a matter of fact, decided that we can do better. There was a school shooting. God came to me and said, you need to get out there to the people. Tell them that we can do better. And it's basically comes down to how we treat each other. And I talk to the kids, I talk to the parents, and I'm telling the parents to become the CEOs of their families and decide what the philosophy you want your children to grow up with. And that's how the kindness guru thing got started. But with parents, what I found with parents that works best is if you're trying to decide what you want to instill in your children, ask your children what they think.
And I love the ask your children what they think point. But how can parents become the CEO of their families?
It is sitting down and just taking the time to decide what values you want to instill in your children. And we get so busy, so caught up in our lives. Take a few minutes to decide what environment do I want to create for my children? Do I want that hostile, negative environment, or do I want the kind, compassionate environment? And you, as parents, are the best role models for your children. So it starts with you. So you can sit down and decide, okay, here's the values I want to instill, but then ask your kids. And I did have a couple who asked two sons in high school. And they sat down and said, okay, as a family, this is what we're going to do. This is what we think. And we want your opinion. And the kids said, okay, we're on board with that. But we want to add removing the word hate from our vocabulary. They had seen in their life what that word can do, and they want to eliminate it from their world. So, you never know what you're going to get when you ask kids what they think. I always find it fascinating that who'd have thought that they would come up with something like that. So this is how you take those steps and just lead, just like a CEO in a corporation.
Yeah. And what age should you start asking your children?
You can start asking them when they start to talk, and the younger, the more interesting the responses are going to be. But yeah, because you want to be speaking kind words to them, positive words to them from infancy. And this is how it works. And as they get older, you are important. I appreciate you. These are the words that these kids need to hear. And they don't always hear it throughout their day. And you can start, like I said, as an infant. And as they get older, age appropriate questions, or what do you think of that? And, a 3-year-old, obviously a 3-year-old answer is going to be different than a 13-year-old answer. And actually the 3-year-old answers are more fun. But you can start by putting sticky notes on your kids' bathroom mirrors, saying, good morning. You are smart. You've got this. You rock. They got the big math test coming up. They've been studying and sweating it out all week. Stick a note in their backpack and say, you've got this. Just those little things of encouragement that you as the CEO of the family can do. And it's how simple you're modeling it. So let's start with something very simple, very basic, a smile and a hello. That goes such a long way. And I have a friend that worked at a parking garage. And he would smile and say good morning to his regular parking people. And then he went on vacation for 2 weeks. And at the end of the 2 weeks, he comes back and his regular customers like, where have you been? And he's like, "What's the matter? We've had the worst 2 weeks of our life." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "That smile and good morning started my day off on such a good note. And without it, my days didn't go as well." And all that gentleman did was smile and say hello. And so he comes to me, "You kindness lady, you always told me that a smile and hello was very important." He said, "But I never realized how important until I got that feedback." So it doesn't have to be big grand gestures. You're modeling that behavior for your children.
I want to stick with the children for a moment because I've got a friend that I was chatting with the other day, and she's got a daughter who is just hitting puberty.
Mhm.
And the daughter's in a very negative space because, I mean, her hormones are going crazy. We all love that puberty period as a parent. I'm not trying to strangle a child, honest.
I understand wanting to. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the horrors of puberty. How do you handle having your children being in that negative place and you're trying to keep the energy of the family positive?
It's tough. Been there, know exactly what you're talking about. It is that they need those words of encouragement more than anybody. Send them out the door with as much positive feedback as you can give them. And this is something that I think people underestimate the power of, not just the smile and the hoe, but hugs. And there's been studies about hugs that if you get 4 hugs a day, you just need that to survive. 8 hugs to maintain the status quo, 12 or more to thrive and grow. Now, I know during those wonderful teenage years, they don't like those hugs, but I do encourage try to almost, I hate to use the word force, but really give them a hug. "I appreciate you. I care about you. You are so smart. You are so important." And just keep feeding that in. Again, it's not always going to work because it is what it is. Um, and then keep modeling whenever they're around. I know this is listen to your child. If they're going off, that's fine. Just don't react. Just listen to them. And I had a story about somebody um, where I just listened. I have a little 10-pound dog. She's cute. Everybody in the world wants to pet her. I should start charging for it. Be a millionaire by now. And we're walking down the bike trail and somebody asked to pet her. I said, "Oh, sure." Well, were some steps there and she sat down. And of course, my dog, oh, yay, bounces into her lap. And the woman starts petting this dog, petting my baby. And then she starts to talk. "I lost my husband 6 months ago. And 3 weeks ago, I lost my dog." And tears. And of course, but I just let her talk. And she's petting my dog and she continues to speak and tell me her story. And then at the end, she takes just a deep breath and a sigh. She gets up, brushes herself off, wipes away the tears. And she looks at me and she said, "Thank you. I haven't felt this good in months." And then she went her way, I went mine. But listening, that's just a powerful way. It's a powerful way to be kind. And you don't even have to say a word. You just have to take a few minutes. And that's where, just listening, no matter if it's your teenage child or whoever you might encounter, that could be all that person needs that day.
You're touching on a very important topic there. We don't know what people are going through.
No.
And being in the space, holding the space for whatever reaction they have, being kind as we hold the space. You were absolutely, you were the kindness guru that day for that person, because here you are, you're doing what you normally do. This person arrives to pat the dog, and that was the support that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
They will always remember that moment just as much as you remember it as a story of kindness, because they will remember that turning point in their darkest hour. Now, our kids have got darkness happening to them. School bullying, exams, teachers' demands, relationships.
Yee.
Yes, I've seen many relationships with children, between children over the years, and today it's just as my best friend, and tomorrow I hate her, and then the next day my best friend again. How do we handle that as a parent?
It is so tough, and and it's changing your perception of how you see people. And like you said, you never know what someone's going through. And I always say personal pain is as unique as a fingerprint. Because you never know what somebody's going through, always be kind. And a good example of that is when early on in my journey in kindness, I had gone out to lunch with a friend, and it was busy. It took us a while for a server to come up. They finally did, and she comes up with her pad. "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Oh boy. Well, we had a couple questions about the menu. I don't know. I was told to come over and take your order. What do you want?" And my friend and I are looking at each other going, "Oh, this is not going to be good." We went ahead and placed our order. It came, it was fine. But she never came and refilled a water, never refilled a coffee or any of those things. And at the end of the meal, she slams the bill on the table and walks away. And my friend and I we sat back because we had every right to complain to a manager. She was awful. She was just downright nasty. And we talked about it, and I said I wanted to try something. Now, I had no idea what the outcome will be, but I said, let's give this a try. We went ahead, paid the bill. We did a normal tip. And then on her receipt, I put a smiley face and wrote, "You are designed to shine." Then we gathered her stuff up and headed on out the door. Well, she chased us into the parking lot. And she said, "Lady, lady." And I turned around and she said, "Thank you. I needed to hear that today." And ran back in the restaurant. Now, my friend, I had no idea what would be the outcome of that. And like I said, it was my early days in kindness. But that to me today is probably the best example of not knowing what someone's going through and flipping the narrative by being kind.
I think you've earned the name Kindness Guru because you're observing people, you're touching their lives, you're being authentically kind. And this is I believe is the key.
Yes.
You are being authentically kind. As the sign says behind you, be kind. And you are being kind, but you're not just being kind because what you can get from this person.
Mm-mm.
You're being kind because of what you can give. And to me, it seems to be about you making your life better by being kind.
Yeah.
And in the process, you're changing the world one person at a time and with every heart that you touch.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is completely, you are the kindness guru. Teresa, that's been our 15 minutes of fame. So
Hey.
where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Journey and Kindness with Teresa Ramirez, or you can head to my website at journeyandkindness.com.
Okay, and you'll also have your photo on our 15 Minutes of Fame guest page, and there'll be a button that also links to your website as well, and that's on speakersonedge.com. Thank you, Teresa. You have definitely been a voice of vision with a message that matters. So that's it for today's 15 Minutes of Fame. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.